Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is take you on a test drive. So next to me here, I have a 2025 Mazda CX-50. We'll look at the interior, exterior, some of the trim level specifics, then go for a spin around, see what it's like out on the road. Alright, so now we're behind the wheel of the 25 CX-50, and this is the 2.5 Turbo Meridian Edition. So there's about 7 or 8 different trim levels with the CX-50, so it can get a little confusing when you're looking at all the equipment, but I thought this one gives you a good look at a lot of available equipment, as well as a few different engine options. Let's begin with what changed for 2025. Now, one of the biggest things in the CX-50 is they've gone away from the 8.8-inch display, and now all of them are going to come with the 10.3-inch unit that's mounted right in the center of the dash here. So there's also several enhancements made to the driver assist systems, things like a new rear seat alert system and better nighttime performance of the pedestrian detection system, which is obviously a great thing to have that added safety. Now, wireless smartphone charging will be available on all trims except for the base model, which would be the S trim, and now there's also the last change being the CX-50 Hybrid has made its way into the lineup. So we did do a full walk around on that vehicle. If you want to check that out, I can link that one down below. So the only other difference there would be the Amazon Alexa voice assistant would now be built into the entire CX-50 lineup. So if you're an Amazon Alexa user, that's a pretty cool difference there. You can still use Siri in these models or just the voice button here on the steering wheel, which can add a little bit of extra safety when you're behind the wheel. Now, before we get too much into the weeds, let's put it in drive and we'll go for a spin around and talk about the CX-50. So we're just about done with winter, but it's still a little cold up here in Minnesota. So today's weather at about 30 degrees. I love having the Meridian Edition because it does have heated seats as well as a heated steering wheel. You can click those right here on the dash. Plus the Meridian also gets the ventilated seats. So once we start hitting that 70, 80 degree weather, I'll have the ability to kick those on, which is definitely a game changer. And inside, this is the terracotta interior. It's absolutely gorgeous in here. It's one of my favorite kind of trims and interiors just because it does give you a lot of good stuff from behind the wheel and on the outside. Now let's start with what powers the Mazda CX-50s. So there's 2 different engine options. There's a turbo and a non-turbo. So the Meridian, obviously the 2.5 turbo would be this engine. It's a little bit of bump and horsepower, a little bit more fun when you're behind the wheel. And the biggest difference is usually when you go to the turbo, you lose a lot of MPG, but this is only a 1 mile per gallon difference from 29 to 30 when looking at the standard engine versus the turbo. So I think it's a pretty worthy upgrade. Now it is important to note that all Mazda SUVs come standard with all-wheel drive. They don't do a front-wheel drive model, so no matter which one you're looking at, just know you'll have the sure-footedness to tackle that wintertime driving. Now let's start with the exterior of this one. So this is the Zircon Sand Metallic. You can get the Meridian in a few different colors. This one obviously being my favorite, it just looks so good, especially matched with the wheels and tires. This is kind of the off-road version of the CX-50. Even though all of them are kind of a little bit more off-road than the CX-5, this one, even above and beyond, has the Falcon Wild Peak AT tires. So with that 18-inch wheel, it's kind of that silver black look that's on the outside. These tires, they're not noisy on the road. They look cool and they give you a bunch of bite and grip, whether you're hitting the trail or doing a little bit of wintertime driving. Now, a few other things on the exterior of the Meridian will get this really cool hood decal with the CX-50 Meridian that runs through, and you'll notice this one does get the roof rack up above. So the crossbars and kind of that added little sort of a roof basket roof rack is on this one. It looks really cool, and if you're planning on doing mountain biking, going camping, this one is going to be pretty set up to already get that done. Now, a few other things on the exterior, maybe you're considering the CX-5 or the CX-50. There's a little bit of difference to the outside. This one's going to be a little bit more boxier and again, kind of more focused for the outdoor enthusiasts. It's got a little bit different of a style, maybe a little bit different of a roof height overall, but very similar once you're behind the wheel. They both drive very sporty and very fun. Now let's start with the back, because the Meridian does get the power liftgate back there, and you do get a split rear seat. So there's these convenient little handles you can pull, folds out on one side or the other. It's really cool. It makes it really easy to haul stuff if you're not bringing people with you. There's also a spare tire in this model, which I know is a question we get a lot. Now in the back, there's also little storage cubbies on the side, but overall, it's quite a bit of room back there. I'm always surprised because it doesn't seem like it would be a huge area back there, but you could easily load this thing up, whether you're on the Costco run or going camping. This can certainly get it done. Now in the second row, this one also adds heated seats. So you've got USB-C charging back there, you got vents back there, whether it's for the kids or maybe for the dogs, but it's really comfortable. There's plenty of headroom in the back, and this one also gets the panoramic sunroof up above. So even with the lighter style interior, if you do the darker interior, the panoramic sunroof definitely opens it up in here, gives it a nice feel, especially if you got the kids in the back. It's just one of those nice little added touches. Okay, so what about the driver's seat? Now it's really comfortable. I love the seats in all the Mazda vehicles. Like I said, when the heat's on, you got the heated steering wheel, you could eat up a ton of miles from behind the wheel, and there's a ton of safety to make sure you and your family is safe when you're on the go. Things like blind spot monitoring. There's even a little menu in the digital gauge cluster here, so it kind of shows the car what you could adjust for your adaptive cruise control. But if someone's in my blind spot, it even pops up here on the center console. So maybe you don't notice the light right away, but you see it in here on the digital cluster. That is a great safety feature. Like I said, they also amped up some of the pedestrian detection at night. You have so much good safety and protection in here. Maybe you're not paying attention for a second. You turn around to say something to the kids, the Mazda will always be keeping an eye on the road for you. Now, along with that, wireless Apple CarPlay. So like I said, the wireless charging is going to be through pretty much all the CX-50s. So you can throw your phone right down here and it's going to be nice and charged up. And I've got the CarPlay. Whether that's Android Auto or the wireless CarPlay you're using, Google Maps, text messaging, Spotify, it's all built into the system. You can actually use it as a touchscreen, or there's a small controller down here. So I like, once you figure it out which way is left and right, you got the buttons. So this one also has built-in navigation you can pull up if you're not using Google Maps, but it makes it really easy and safe to focus on the road ahead and not be messing with your phone. Now there is also a volume controller down here, so driver and passenger alike can change that, and there is still one on the steering wheel. I like that they gave you the option there. It's not kind of mixed up into the dash with some other stuff. It's right here, it's really easy. Now this one does also get a dual zone climate control. So whether it's driver or passenger, like I said, the heated ventilated seats for both driver and passenger, it's just a really nice, easy, comfortable place to be. I like that Mazda doesn't overcomplicate everything. We got our cup holders down here, a little storage cubby, this nice little storage in here as well, and you've got the keyless entry. So you hop in, fire it up, and you're off and running. But I mean, overall, drives really great. The Mazdas are always a really nice sporty drive, and I like that. Especially with the turbocharged engine, you can have fun when you're behind the wheel, yet it's really efficient at 29 miles per gallon on the highway. I mean, there's a lot to like here, but we do have to touch on the price. Now, MSRP on this vehicle is right around $44,000. So this is kind of a higher mid-tier trim level, I'd say. So obviously you can go up from here, you can go down from here. So the pricing really does kind of fit every budget. And with Walser, we offer an 8-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. So you can be on the road for a long time to come and not be worried about, do I have to mess with this? Am I gonna have to, worry about it down the road? The other thing I like is that Mazda used a 6-speed automatic transmission in here. I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fan of the CVT, so Mazda sticking with the standard 6-speed is definitely a nice thing as well. And I mean, these 2.5s have been a pretty great powertrain for Mazda. Also, the backup camera is great in here. So we got a little parking spot, so we'll throw it in the spot here. You can kind of see what's going on around you. The crystal clear view of the backup camera is also really nice. Not all backup cameras are equal these days, but the Mazda one does work really well. Not to mention the driver's seat is also going to have memory seats. So if there's two of you driving, it's just right down here on the left. It's easy to program those in. So I think between the technology, I mean, even things like the HomeLink rear view mirror, the panoramic roof, the adaptive cruise control and wireless CarPlay, there's just so much great equipment in here, especially when you're looking at the new car prices right now. It's an average of $49,000 and maybe even soon to be going up from there. There's a lot to like with this CX-50, and I think definitely one to add to the list to come out, take for a spin, and see what you think. Now that was just a quick look and drive at the 2025 Mazda CX-50. Now if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by anytime. We'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for watching.